All right, one more take. All right, I just picked up the last of the supplies I need from REI, and everything's loaded in the car. I think we've got everything we need, so let's hit the road and head north. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of a caffeine boost, but a bit of a non-traditional one. There's a new drink at Starbucks I've been wanting to try. It's only at like 400 stores, and so I had to like search to find one that had it. I'm gonna stop by, order this new drink, try it out, and see what all the fuss is about. Actually, there hasn't been any fuss. I had to seek it out. That's like the opposite of fuss. Awesome. This is me, thank you.
Let me know how it is.
All right, here it is. This is the Cocoa Cold Brew. It's coconut water, and then they foam a little bit of cold brew. They like whip it up, just cold brew, and that's it. That's the drink. I had no expectations coming into this, and yet it's exactly what I expected it would be. There's no secret here. It tastes a little bit like coconut water and a little bit like coffee whipped. Anyway, it's nothing to write home about, but it is a much better direction than olive oil and coffee. Behind me is one of the most captivating and famous viewpoints in all of Yosemite. It is the tunnel view, and it draws tourists from all over to come and capture the photo. From where I'm standing, you can see the valley. You can see El Capitan here. You can see, actually you can see Half Dome. It would be back here above my fingers, but it's in the clouds right now. And you can see all the tourists here to take their photo. Now I need to get to the valley floor and hopefully find a parking spot and maybe somewhere to camp. Let's see. This is the day we're here for. So begins our hike to Little Yosemite Valley. Hopefully tomorrow morning, summit Half Dome, which you can see here from the valley floor, and it's perfectly clear up there right now. But in the afternoon, the clouds and storms roll in. So really don't know if we're gonna actually be able to reach the summit of Half Dome tomorrow, but we'll find out tomorrow. I just met my 10 flights of stairs goal for the day. My watch informed me 12 minutes into starting. So this should be fun. So Half Dome's right over here. Little Yosemite Valley is a little valley behind this rock face. So effectively, we're gonna start here at the valley floor and follow the Merced River up past some waterfalls and around the back of this rock face to get to Little Yosemite Valley. And I hope to stay the night there in Little Yosemite Valley. And then tomorrow, continue the hike up and around to Half Dome. Sounds like a good plan, but reality is always a little more complicated. Coming up on our first waterfall of the journey. I'm not sure if this one is named or not. miles on the trail. Took me about 40 minutes. It's rough hiking up here. Here's the view behind that most people aren't as interested in. And here's the path forward, which is where we're headed now. You do get this warning that this is the last chance for water. And there it is. And here's your warning sign. So let's hope we're sufficient. All right, so we got our water. We opted for, oh my God. We opted for more than what we brought, which is safer, I guess, but definitely feeling it in the pack.
Indeed, at that water station, I added another 2 liters to my pack, which was probably the smart move, but it added a lot of weight, and I don't think I was ready for the trail that was ahead of me. The views along the trail are undeniably beautiful, and I think that's why you see so many people here of different ages, shapes, and sizes. But can you really call this a trail? This is just staircases. Stairs and stairs and stairs and stairs. Am I complaining? I hope I'm not complaining.
All right, here we are. We made it to the edge. Inferno Falls. Absolutely beautiful.
With the queue of people behind me waiting to take their photos, and the sun beating down on me, I conclude I need to find a good place to stop for lunch. And I do. I find this sweet little spot in the shade, take my pack off for a bit. A squirrel keeps coming to try to eat my food and my nerd gummy clusters.
Well, the sun has finally peeked its head out and starting to feel the warmth. Definitely feeling the altitude and definitely feeling the weight of the pack. But again, these views are what's making it all worth it. And just got to keep pressing on. This is beautiful. I'm just a few steps away from those falls, and it's incredible. You just go around a corner and it'll be quiet and you hear the falls in the distance. And you come around another one, roaring falls. This is the trail, man. Oh my goodness. The weather's holding up quite nicely so far. I cannot complain. I mentioned the sun popped up, but you can see there's a little bit of a breeze up here at the top. It's probably high 60s at this point. And then that breeze kicks in and it's just perfect. Up here towards the top, a lot less trees to provide cover, but I think there'll be more as we follow this stream. I think this might be Merced River here.
Most people who do make it all the way up to Nevada Falls turn around there and start heading down. Like small ants, they zigzag down the mountain. But so late in the day, few people continue along the John Muir Trail. But I do. My path is still ahead of me. But not much further now. Heading away from Nevada Falls, the path becomes quieter, and the trees fewer. And before long, I'm at the backside of Half Dome. And
all right, I've made it to Little Yosemite Valley. Feels good to take the backpack off knowing that it's off for a little bit. I looked around a bit for a different campsite, but I'm just gonna set up right here because I want to rest a bit. Rest a bit. Next, what we do is we take all of our food and put it in the food storage. Just where you want to store your food. Excuse me. Alright, well, we were able to set up camp here. Able to take a little bit of a nap. Half Dome's up here. It is just calling to us. Looming over Little Yosemite Valley. I think I might move my food from the other locker to this locker. There's a chance I leave tomorrow at like 4 in the morning. And I don't want to wake others up with the chain and the whole bear locker situation. So I see there's fewer people over here by this one, so I might use this one. It's a big question about using the bathroom out here, but thankfully in this campground they provide a pit toilet. We don't have to dig a hole. And I'm sure you're curious what that pit toilet looks like, so let's take a look at the bathroom. Yep, looks like pit. Alright, we're headed down to the water now, over to the Merced River. I'm gonna fill up on some water. I'm trying to finish off what's in the pack here, but a few runs through the filter hopefully can fill all our water sources. We need it, of course, to drink tomorrow. We need it to brush our teeth. We need it to cook. So we're going to be needing quite a bit of water here.
once again, stocking up on water seems like the ideal thing to do, and I would still stand by my decision. But I make one small mistake at the end of this day. That ends up becoming a very significant issue.
It kind of looks more like a chicken and rice soup, but it's fried rice, I guess. Boiled fried rice? That was not bad. That was not bad at all. And I brought a little dessert, a little cookies and cream ice cream sandwich. I know you're jealous, but it's freeze dried, so it's like it's fine. Okay. It's currently 7:30. The sun is set. I'm set. I've cleaned up. I've pre-packed my bag. It's time to sleep. All right, it's Sunday, September 21st.
5:52 a.m. I'm almost 2 hours late than I had hoped to be, but that's due to some of the insanity that occurred last night. So I did make it to sleep around 7 or 8, and I have this little one-person tent, and so I had my backpack at the end of my feet, and I was kind of resting my feet up on it and sleeping. And then at 10 I got up, and because my back and bum were really cold, and I felt it, and it was wet. It was wet inside my sleeping bag. It was wet outside my sleeping bag. And I felt around the tent, and everything was wet. And I was like, what the heck? This isn't a waterproof tent. So I unzipped the zipper, and I reached outside, and everything was dry. So I said, oh shh. What had happened was I failed to close the valve on the bladder on my backpack. So with my feet on it all night, I was just squeezing the water out. How much water? All of it, 2 liters. It's no problem, I have water, but just everything was wet last night and cold. And a lot of my gear is still wet, so we're gonna have to deal with all of that before too long. For now, let's get started up Half Dome. As I'm complaining to the camera about the night I had, I come up to this sign with the skull and crossbones, warning Half Dome hikers of the extreme danger ahead. Beautiful little rock stairs ahead of me, and my destination behind me. Oh wow. I'm pretty much reaching the edge of the trees, the tree line. And after this, I'll be fully exposed to the elements. But this is why we're here, no? Up we go. I'm climbing up backside of the subdome. You can see Half Dome ahead of me there. The trail is all but vanished. So I'm just gonna keep making my way up. So I lied to you just now. I thought that this hill behind me that I've been trudging up was the subdome. No, this is a pebble compared to subdome. This is nothing. Subdome's still coming. Oh goodness. Let's do it. It's funny to look back in that moment and now and consider that I thought I was nearing the final push. But the reality is, subdome is unlike anything else. The subdome is primarily stairs cut into completely exposed rock face. There's hardly anything to protect you from the elements here, and many people quickly realize that this is not for them. Those that do press on are rewarded with beautiful views of the Clark and Cathedral ranges behind them, but we should all probably just keep our eyes on the ground in front of us. At some points, the trail disappears entirely, and you just have to scramble up the bare rock, but all that is doing is preparing you for what comes next. The cables. lot is going through my mind in these moments. Obviously, there's a certain excitement that I've made it here after years of planning. But there's also a lot of thoughts and a lot of what if. Actually, forget the what ifs. Let's go. Here you reach a sign that warns you if you see a thunderstorm anywhere on the horizon not to proceed, as lightning has struck Half Dome every month of the year. These portions of the granite have already been worn smooth by the thousands of people who have been here before you, and the slightest bit of moisture can turn it slick as ice. As you start climbing and pulling yourself up the cables, you realize that these cables are barely held into the rock, and that they're not here to save your life. They're here to help you feel a little more comfortable as you walk up this rock face. The 2x4s also give some sense of security, but not much.
This next one is a ways.
As the rock face gets steeper, you rely on your arms and the cables a lot more than at the lower elevations. I'm literally pulling myself up these cables, and the 2x4s are just a spot for me to rest my arms. The people you meet up here are very friendly, very understanding. It's taken everyone a lot to get here right now. I meet this guy on the way up as I'm resting on a 2x4, and I explain to him how the flood in my tent the night before has made me late to summit Half Dome today. But he quickly reminds me,
2-hour late start, and can't complain.
You're not late for anything.
No, exactly. All right.
It's all right there. Yeah.
Enjoy.
indeed, you're not late for anything. It's all right there. I take a few moments to take everything in. Up here, it's completely silent aside from the few others who have made this trek. The air is thin. The view is 360 degrees and wilderness in almost every direction.
Wow, well, there you have it. I have made it to the top of Half Dome. Everyone's up there at the summit. This is pretty much the extent of people up here. It's really not busy. The cables really weren't busy. But it's wonderful here. Just look at this view. This is phenomenal. You know, this has taken not just the 8 miles of hiking or whatever, but I've entered this lottery 2 years in a row. Finally got awarded several months ago, started planning. This has been a big endeavor and one I'm very proud of and happy to have done. Couldn't have done it without the support of my wife and the other people in my life.
The summit of Half Dome, the surface kind of looks like the moon. It feels very alien. I spent about an hour up there, and I shot a bit of footage and ate a bit of food. Then it was time to head back down. Going down was definitely more frightening than going up. even though I felt a lot more confident on the cables. They kept telling me, go up as early as you can. And there's a ton of people that use the cables. And going up, I only saw half a dozen people. But by the time I was going down, all of the day hikers who started in the valley floor were making their way up. And it was congested. I don't want to understate the danger of nature. Obviously, the granite is slick, and the thunderstorm could come at any minute. But I think what really makes the cables dangerous is the humans. I was stuck on this 2x4 for almost 20 minutes because someone below wouldn't go down while people were coming up. At some point on the summit, I made an accidental change to a camera setting, and all of my descent footage looks like this. Some kind of fever dream. And in some ways, that's what it felt like.
It's 11:30, 6.2 miles to the valley floor.
I had made it to the top after months of planning and days of hiking, and now I headed back down. There was a certain sadness in descending. So much had gone into this trip over the months, days, and hours before. The many miles to get up, the thousands of feet climbed by car and by foot. And now I was just returning. I had work tomorrow. We all know how that goes. But I learned that with the proper planning, you really can accomplish a lot in a single weekend. And I knew I had to do something like this again. I knew this wasn't the final adventure.